Morning, everyone. We're just about to start but as I do, I'd like to welcome last year's winner and now this year's judge, Milana. Morning. Find a seat. Okay, so I'm going to do my logistics, and in about 2 minutes, we're coming for you, okay? No, would you like to say something quick? You sure? Sorry, that sounded like a question that was meant, but okay, I'll get you down later. So good morning, everyone. We'll just do a little bit of logistics before we have our speakers in. So please turn your phone off, put it on silent, air mode. If you are going to be taking pictures, no problem, videos, but try to make that discreet. We don't want flashes going off in the speakers' eyes. If all of you, I think, have a program, so if I could very quickly take you through that program. On the first page, we have our sponsors. Some of them are here in the room with us. So a huge thanks to Mum Abroad, Educate to Communicate, Fig Quarria, who is here with the boss himself, Josh Gable. Wherever you are, Josh, a huge personal thanks to you. Metropolitan Magazine, also here with the boss, Victor, and a huge thanks to Victor. So Victor and Josh have supported us enormously from the very beginning of everything. And we couldn't have done it without you many times. We also have In City, La Caixa Foundation, as you can see, Maresme Toastmasters, and I think they always make noise, the Toastmasters. Okay, and I think Simonetta is the president. Did I make that up? Co-founder and former president. Perfect. Swiss Business School, where we held our boot camp, and they gave us their installations. And those of you that were in this morning and saw Adam from Vocal Core doing his amazing work, Adam also came here. So most of these people have given us their time, their energy. In some cases, they've been able to give us financial sponsorship, so we're very grateful to all of them. If we now go to the second page, I feel like I'm teaching now, but on the second, is it the second page? Second page is the speakers. You're going to meet them in person. Third page is us, 4 voices. So Carrie and Gabriella are here. Katrina's hiding up the back. Okay, so this is our 5th year. We're very excited. We've done this 5 times. We've also taken it to Belfast, where we've done it now 3 times. So I think we counted it up the other day. There's been about 150 kids that have gone through the program in both places. We're very excited about that. Finally, at the back, you're going to see 12 internationally renowned, some of them are in the room, coaches who volunteered their time. These are coaches that have a huge amount of experience, are permanently busy with incredibly complicated agendas, yet they put time aside to do individual coaching with the speakers. So if any of you in the room ever need somebody that can help you in public speaking, pick the face you like and contact them. Each and every one of them is astounding. So thank you very much to the coaches. So I'd like you now, they're a little bit nervous, as you can imagine. It's a big day for them. They've worked very hard for this. So I'd like you, maybe you can get the door gap. So I'd like you all to be upstanding for a moment as we welcome the 2026 finalists for 4 Voices. Welcome on stage. No, Saul. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the moment. Thank you very much, finalists. You can take your seat. Sorry, I'm also going to put my phone on silent. Thank you. One day, each and every person in this room will be dead. I know that's a cheery way to start the conversation on a beautiful Sunday morning, but I think it's something that It's going to get worse, by the way, so you want to settle yourselves in, okay? You're all going to be dead. We're all going to be dead. And for some of us, we'll be lucky because we're going to have time. And we're going to have time to have those important conversations. We're going to be able to say goodbye to our life, to the people that matter to us. For some of us in the room, that's going to come out of nowhere, and we're not even going to know it. 1 minute you're going to be doing something, the next minute you're gone. So then the question is, what are you going to do with the life that you have? Where do you see yourself currently in the life that you have? Probably like everybody in the room, you're running around with mortgages, kids, cars, the tire's gone flat. How am I going to do this? Where am I going to go on holiday? And each time, years and years passed. I think some of us in the room that are much closer to my age can look back at a society that was different. I grew up in rural Ireland. Entire generations were all together in the same village. You saw people get older. You saw people that were no longer with you. You saw death very up and close. I know Gabby's here in the room as well, so strange as it might sound, when people die in Ireland, we bring them home. They're in our house. We say our final goodbye to them. Death is very real in our culture. But what I see in each culture, including our own, Gabby, is that each time, illness, old age, death, we put it in a corner. We hide it. We don't want to see it. We don't want to look at it because it's uncomfortable. And if we're not looking at it, that means we can look away from it. And if we're looking away from it, that means we don't have to think about it. And then we all scurry around in our very important lives, doing our very important things until something comes and turns your life upside down. We're a big believer here at Four Voices that if you want to know anything about anything, go to a teenager. Teenagers, when they're motivated, when they want to do something, are easily the easiest people to teach. The energy that they bring, the ganas, I'm breaking into Spanish now, that they bring to what they want to do. And so we thought when we were deciding this year's question, what should the question be? As you now know, again, what is a life well lived? And we're going to ask that question today of teenagers. And there might be some of you in the room that think, teenagers get a bad rap. So there might be some of you who think, he's 16, what's he going to know? She's 17, what life experience has she had? But when you hear the speeches that you're going to hear today, and you hear what concerns they have, what worries them, the view that they have of the future, you're all going to understand why we asked that question of these teenagers. So I apologize for putting death in your face. Okay, I hope when you walk out of here today, you'll see things with a new perspective and you'll enjoy life much more than you have been as you've been potentially. And I put my hand up here, walking through your weeks. And I would like to thank again, before we start, these teenagers, the work that you've put in, the intelligence that you brought, the talent. We're enormously proud of you. I'd like every one of you to enjoy every moment down here. And with that, let me get my program. We're going to start. So our first speaker this morning, please welcome her to the stage with her speech. Fan the Flame, Saul Gibbs Claver. Welcome, Saul.
Have you ever seen a flame put out by a big bucket of cold water? During COVID lockdown, my dad encouraged me to start watching science videos. And you know what? They were actually pretty interesting. And the more I watched, the more interesting they became. So, at just 10 years old, I started learning about atomic particles, the periodic table, even quantum theory. And I developed a small flame of passion for it. So, when COVID ended, I excitedly rushed up to my science teacher to tell him all about what I had learned. But instead of him telling me good job, he told me I shouldn't bother. Can any of you guess why? Because it was not on the curriculum. He essentially poured a bucket of cold water all over my little flame, killing it, dead forever. 2 years later, I started secondary, where I made a friend who was really into drawing. We bonded over it, and her work was incredible. So every day, when I got back home from school, I would practice. For hours and hours, I would sit at my desk and learn to draw through art tutorials on YouTube. I learned that other artists, instead of using pencil and paper, drew with a digital tablet. And that's how I discovered my new little flame of passion: digital art. That Christmas, my parents fanned my flame and got me my first ever professional drawing tablet. And I loved it. Drawing with it made me realize this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But there was a problem. Digital arts is not on the curriculum. So, my parents fanned my flame yet again and moved me to a digital film school here in Barcelona, where every day I get to have fun, learn what I'm passionate about, and do amazing stuff. In case you haven't grasped the full weight of what I'm saying, let me underline it. I'm a 15-year-old kid who loves going to school. And not only that, I'm getting excellent grades, and parents, my employment prospect is 99.9%. This is what happens when you fan the flame of passion. And I am not an exception. Take Ivan, who lived near my house, as an example. When he was a kid, he had a passion for bird watching. Not on the curriculum, but people around him fanned his flame, and now he works as a nature guide up in Norway. And my cousin Chloe, when she was 10, she discovered she had a passion for diving. Not on the curriculum, but people around her fanned her flame, and now at just 17, she's not only a multi-gold medalist, but also a certified diving coach. Isn't that amazing? These people got far, not just because they had a passion, but because they had people who fanned their flame. And don't get me wrong, the curriculum is okay. It's good for kids who don't know what they want to do yet. I mean, government statistics stated that 70% of students between the ages 12 up to 18 do not know what they want to do after compulsory studies. But that still leaves 30% of us, almost 1 in 3 kids who do have something they're interested in. So parents, teachers, headmasters, if a kid has a worthwhile passion and it's not on the curriculum, do not immediately pour a bucket of cold water all over their flame. Instead, encourage them, support them, fan their flame, take a step back, and see just how big the bonfire can get. Should I go?
Yeah. Up you go, Saul. Thank you, Saul. An amazing way to start. We'd like to welcome our second speaker, Elsa Shiffrey, and her speech, Genuine Choices. Is it enough? Please welcome Elsa to the stage.
What matters? Or better yet, who decides what matters? What is truly yours? You are yours. There's so many questions like these, and yet none of which have wrong answers. However, the question we'll be focusing on today is, what is a life well lived? I am here today because I have lost part of myself several times throughout my life. I started developing certain traits that my friends use, even certain hand gestures. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only person in this room who's ever felt that they've lost themselves or just part of themselves. This brings us to people's influence on us. Every day we deal with a lot of people, but sometimes most people forget the difference between our attitude and our personality. Our attitude is something that changes depending who's in front of us. It's the side of us that's being brought out. However, our personality is our values, our opinions, our likes, our dislikes. It's something that's supposed to be constant and it's supposed to be shown. Now, eventually, if you start losing part of yourself, you stop doing what you love. What you love is something that is in you since the day you were born, and it's something that you will carry with you throughout all your life. If you don't pursue this, then you won't even have a reason to wake up in the morning. You won't want, because you know that throughout that day, there is nothing that will make you feel like you accomplished something or that makes you want to try more. Then you start finding yourself in situations where you don't feel a fire or a flame awakening inside of you. You don't feel that adrenaline rushing through your veins because you're not doing what you love, you're doing what someone else loves. Throughout most of my life, I've had a very important figure present. He was my uncle, and he passed away a couple years ago. And even though his absence is painful and still felt, I am proud to say that I am who I am because of him. Because of him, I discovered my passion for the ocean. Because of him, I have this love for seeking experiences and trying new things and feeling and looking for that adrenaline. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's ever met him, who's ever felt impacted by him. And that was because he had something unique. He was always himself. There was not a time that I ever looked at him and saw him pretending to be someone else. He never lied or pretended. It was him, and you could see it from far. For instance, he used to love sailing, and he used to spend the three months in our summers doing so, in the same beaches with the same people. A lot of people would look at him and say, "Don't you get bored? Same beaches, same people?" He did not care. The next day, he was back in that water on his boat, sailing with those people. Now, to him, sailing probably was a source of freedom. It was his boat. He decided who he let on. He was the captain. And most importantly, it was his values that were being projected there, which is probably what made it so memorable and unique. Everywhere I look, I see something that reminds me of him. Now, two things come to mind. The first thing is how thankful I am to have met someone that made it so hard to say goodbye to. But then I also use him as a reminder to always be myself, to be genuine. Which brings us to every day we make decisions. So not only do we have to be genuine to ourselves, but there's also two important factors. When you're making a decision, you have fear and love present. For example, you're deciding if you want to take a week off to travel. Fear is telling you, no, what if I lose my job? What if my boss gets mad? However, love, on the other hand, is telling you, no, go chase your dreams, go travel, try new food, be with your friends. What's important to remember throughout your life is when you make a choice, it has to be genuine. Everyone knows this. But it can also be based out of fear because it's a genuine choice. It's a feeling that you're feeling. Now, the important thing is to make your decisions have to be genuine out of love. And I will guarantee you that you will live a fulfilled life where every day when you wake up, you will look around and be excited to try something new. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cormac.
Thank you very much, Elsa. Our third speaker with his speech, "Someday is Too Late." Please welcome on stage Alex Cuello.
Do you ever dream? I do, and I want your dreams to come true. Close your eyes for a second and imagine your future. You can now open your eyes. Now, did you see what the world expected from you to be? Or did you see something meaningful? Because one day, maybe sooner than we think, we'll be asking ourselves this question. Did I live the life I truly wanted to live? Since we were young, we've been surrounded by a very specific image of success. Money, fame, recognition, a big house. These ideas have shaped the way we think, the way we choose, and even the way we judge ourselves. But what if everything we've been taught about success is wrong? The truth is, time is limited, yet we act as it isn't. People always say, you'll have more chances to chase your dreams. You'll have more opportunities. But will I really have more opportunities? And these opportunities, especially the ones which terrify us the most, are the ones with the power to change our lives forever. Yet, so many people take too long to realize. At the end of the day, we won't remember the times where we tried and failed, but we'll always remember the times where we didn't even try, the trips we never took, the dreams we postponed. And why? Because fear told us to stay where it's safe. And fear is persuasive. The fear of being judged, the fear of standing alone, the fear of people saying, that's impossible, you're not good enough. So a year ago, I decided to chase for my dream. I decided to start training for an Ironman triathlon. For those who didn't know, an Ironman consists of 4K of swimming, then 180K of cycling, and then a full marathon. Up to 16 hours of relentless effort back to back to back. 16 hours where your body begs you to stop. 16 hours where your mind tries to convince you that you're not good enough. To prepare, I train around 15 hours a week. Early mornings, silence. Bike rides, solitary. Legs, constantly aching. People saying, you're not built for this. And maybe, just maybe, they're right. But partly. Because this wasn't just physical, it was mental, it was emotional. It was a constant battle against myself. There were days where I woke up exhausted even before starting. Days where it was easier to quit than to keep going. And in those moments, you don't fight the race. You fight your own mind. And when you're facing these difficulties, these difficult moments, what can you do? Well, I always have my mental cookie jar to help me. The idea is simple. Every time you do something hard, you put a cookie in this imaginary jar, right? And when you're facing a hard situation again, you can always reach into that jar and say, I've done difficult things before, so why can't I do them again? That's when I realized confidence doesn't come from birth. It comes through action, through resilience, through persistence. Real failure wouldn't be starting the race and coming up short, but rather never starting at all. 3 months deep into my training, it was time to face my fear, the fear of being judged. People who were closest to me, friends and family, started saying, you're insane, this is not good for you, this is too much, I don't understand. And ladies and gentlemen, maybe that's the whole point. It's my dream. People don't have to understand each one of your dreams because they're yours. They are yours. You must protect them. You must fight for them. So, now I got a question to ask to all of you. What is your dream? What can you do to change your life forever? Because I believe in all of you.
Okay?
Huh?
You okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Incredibly well done. Our fourth speaker this morning is Elke Garcia Brown, And her speech, Living Beyond Glass. Welcome, Elke.
What if the real tragedy of life isn't dying itself, but reaching the end of it without ever knowing if you lived it well? A life well lived. Achievement, money, beauty. These are words we cling to, metrics we use to judge success, worth, and even life itself. But do they truly define a life well lived? Put yourselves in our shoes. It was only yesterday that we knew the order that each of us would come up in, stand up, and present this very speech. Leading up to today, there was nervous excitement, uncertainty, and doubt. In life, this uncertainty becomes unbearable because the future is untold. We thus invite anxiety in. The anxiety that lives in over 300 million people worldwide. The anxiety which frantically grabs at anything it can to prove to us that we are on the right path. Standing here today, I'm not immune to that uncertainty either, and I truly doubt that anyone in this room is. However, to regain a sense of control, we feel that we have to turn life into something measurable, something that we are able to compare, prove, and justify. It's this same instinct that pushes us to measure our lives through achievement, money, and beauty. Why? Because they offer something tangible. Now, I learned this not from theory, but from someone I loved dearly, my Aunt Diang. Diang was wonderful, yet she did not possess any of society's grand markers of success. She wasn't wealthy, she wasn't remarkably successful, and she was not extraordinary on paper. But she was wonderful. And I remember one afternoon so clearly. Christmas lunch, a long oak table stretching across the room, plates clinking softly, and the smell of roast chicken filling the air. I remember sitting there, quietly watching, wondering why everyone seemed so drawn to her. Yet it wasn't what she had. It was how she made people feel. Seen, valued, at ease. And rather than the usual trivial conversations, like, did you hear what's happened to whomever, she stated boldly, scoffing, such irrelevant gossip. Why not pour yourself into what truly matters to you? And it terrified me how a life like hers could be seen as not enough by the world. Because I uncovered something that day that I'd never been taught in school or had seen on a report card. A life well lived is not measured by what you earn. It isn't measured at all, but rather lived through the values you refuse to abandon. Take me, the child who always knew the answer but never put their hand up, the child who preferred the comfort of their own thoughts to the spotlight, the child who observed more than they spoke. Yet, against all odds, she helped me transition from that insecure primary school girl who was too scared to read in front of her class to who I am today. Because I own my voice, my values, and my passion. Ultimately, Di pushed me to discover international law, something I've now been working towards for 4 years. I joined debate, mod United Nations, and even stand here today delivering this very speech, all because she taught me what you pursue should reflect what you value, not what the world expects. So ask yourselves this: if your life ended tomorrow, what would people say about you? Because when Diang died, my family did not measure her life. We celebrated it. We remembered her warmth, her presence, and the way people felt with her. Lighter, heard, and important even in the smallest moments. Because a life built only on appearance is like living behind glass. Always visible, always judged, and always one crack away from shattering. So when your life ends, how will it be remembered? Not in numbers or appearances, but in the lives you touched, the love you gave, and the choices you made when no one was watching. Because in the end, that is what truly matters. Not how it looked, but how it was lived. Will yours be a life well lived?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elke. Our next speaker is Alisia Mestra, and her speech, Is This Really Living? Please welcome Alisia to the stage.
One in 3 women will experience sexism, harassment, or violence in their lifetime. 1 in 3. Not somewhere else, not in another world, right here. Look around you. Every 3rd woman you see carries a story she may never tell out loud. How many times have you heard the words, "You run like a girl," or "You're surprisingly intelligent for a woman," that echo through homes, workplaces, playgrounds? Now, how many of you have felt those words aim at you like little quiet assumptions on your worth? And perhaps most unsettling of all, how many of you, even for a fleeting moment, have let those words sink in and become your reality? From the moment many girls begin to grow up, the expectations start to multiply. Be confident, but not too intimidating. Speak your mind, but don't be too emotional. Be ambitious, but not aggressive. Be tough, but not difficult. We are taught to succeed without appearing to want it too much, to lead, but softly, to stand out, but only so far before we make others uncomfortable. Over time, these expectations stop sounding like advice and start becoming limits. Limits that shape how girls see them, how the world sees themselves. Who speaks up, who stays quiet, who dares to believe their voice matters. And the truth is, when half the world grows up learning to doubt the value of their voices, it's not just women who are silenced. It's ideas, it's progress, possibilities the world desperately needs. Since I was a little girl, I've always loved hiding in an imaginary place, a place where none of these limits existed. I remember being 8 on the playground. I was running as fast as I could, laughing, completely convinced that speed was the only thing that mattered. That was until someone shouted from the side of the field that I ran like a girl. The other kids laughed, but I remember slowing down, suddenly unsure of something that had felt so natural just moments before. A mix of confusion and what felt like shame took over me, which didn't make any sense. At 8 years old, I didn't understand why that sentence was supposed to mean that I was weaker. At 16, the world grows bigger, and the weight grows heavier. I no longer find it strange to think twice before coming home alone and after dark, to cross the street when footsteps sound too close behind me, my phone in hand, ready, just in case. Fear becomes something we've grown used to living with, something that many girls learn to carry without ever being taught why they should have to. And at 25, I imagine her, tired yet persistent, aware of every rule that has tried to shape her, but still daring to hope. I hope she won't have to fight for basic respect. I hope she can walk, speak, create, and lead without ever having to calculate what will cost her. I hope she can exist fully, not because she must, but because the world finally allows her to. For me, a life well lived is one where women no longer have to constantly measure themselves against how they might be perceived. A life where speaking up is not a risk, and existing fully is not something we have to fight for. A life well lived is one where we are no longer defined by the limits placed on us, but by the lives we choose to build beyond them. I don't speak for every woman. I can't. But I stand here as one, and that should already be enough. So I encourage all of you women here present who want to hear what I have to say to choose yourselves, your voice, your truth, again and again and again. Because the life we live is one where we choose to speak up, to question, and to take up space, even when it's uncomfortable. The moment we stop shrinking ourselves, it is the moment we truly start living. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alisia. We're now coming to speech number 6 from Diang Seahhen. Please welcome him to the stage with his speech, The Success of Failing.
At the beginning of this year, a question has been on my mind. A question I think all of you have asked yourself at some point. Since we were kids, we were taught 3 things: talent, effort, and success. But is that really the whole story? Or is there something else that we've been missing? From a very young age, there's one thing we always try to avoid, the thing that scares us the most. The exact opposite of success: failure. Now, I want to ask you, how many of you here have stopped trying something just because you were afraid of failing? Many of us are like this sheet of paper. We have all the potential in the world to write an incredible story, but we are terrified. We are terrified of ruining it with a mistake. We'd rather keep it blank, safe, and perfect, but without story, without meaning, until one day, this sheet of paper simply withers away. There's the problem. We've been taught that the only way to reach our goals is through success and talent, but no one ever told us that our time is limited. So, here's my second question. How many of you believe that talent beats effort? This is a cross-classic century. It's considered one of the best pen in the world. Now, imagine that talent is like the ink in this pen. It may be the best ink ever made, but if you don't make the effort to write, only write, it's completely useless. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, talent gives us an edge, but effort decides how far we can go. Because a life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And to win a marathon, we need persistence, not talent. There's a phrase I love, it's thanks to my parents I learned it, and the main reason I'm here today. It goes, talent may open one door, but effort opens them. I love that phrase because it dismantles the idea we've believed for a long time and replaces it with a new reality in which talent isn't everything. It's only a part of it. Since the world we live in is full of talented people, we are surrounded by talent. But only those who truly put in the effort will open more than one door. Because in this society, talent is common, and what is real is effort. No. And now, if effort is so important, a question arises. What's the biggest enemy of effort? Many people will say laziness, but no, it's the fear of failure. So why are we so afraid to fail? Because we think this is the end. But in reality, it's just the beginning. What's harder in that moment, it's getting back up. That's where most people give up. Because at first, giving up makes no noise. It's invisible. It doesn't hurt. But believe me, when you see someone who kept going, who's now living the life you could have had, that pain will cut deeper than anything else. Failing is not losing. Losing is not trying. The only way to learn is by making mistakes. Because in the end, ladies and gentlemen, failure isn't the enemy. It's the teacher that leads you to success. So today, I'm not asking you to be more talented. And today, I'm not asking you to try harder. Today, I'm only asking you to stop fearing failure. Because the real goal in this life isn't to die with dreams. It's to die with memories. Thank you.
Congratulations. It's an excitable bunch. I saw them try and I love the way they went, no. Well done. Okay, you took it in your stride. It was fantastic. Wonderful energy. Congratulations. Fantastic. Our seventh speaker this morning is Erika Austi. Please welcome her to the stage with her speech, Don't Waste Your Final Breath. Welcome, Erika.
Imagine you're lying on your deathbed. As your life flashes in front of your eyes, what will you regret the most? For some of you, it might be that one lover your parents never approved of. For others, it might be never taking that career in arts just because it had no future. Or maybe it's never quitting that soul-sucking job you dedicated your life to just because it paid well. You see, every decision we might come to regret stems from what we were told to do or want. So how about we stop listening? Be honest. Are you being honest with yourself? As children, we are taught to dream, that nothing is impossible, that the sky's the limit, to never change for others. As teenagers, we're told to get grounded, to start being realistic, that to blend in is to survive. We're given a straight path to success, and it's convincing. It's structured, but most of all, it's safe. It promises security if we just follow it closely enough. But a life well lived is not the same as a life well managed. As I stand here today in front of you all, I am a hypocrite. I'm asking you to choose yourself, to love yourself, and to act for yourself when I myself have always lived for others. As a first-generation immigrant, my parents' sacrifices have always burdened me. Not because they expected it of me, but because my own sense of justice said that every single sacrifice they made had to be retributed somehow. Every friend they left behind, every family member they had to say goodbye to, the careers they lost in hopes of giving me a brighter future, needed some kind of repayment. And I thought that the only way to do that was by making them proud. Funny story though, when I was younger, it was an ongoing joke how different my older sister Irene and I were. While she was the older, introverted athlete, I was the younger, extroverted artist. But as we grew up and were eventually forced to leave our country, Venezuela, I saw in my sister a path to follow, one capable of making my family proud. So I picked up a sport, learned how to cook, study more, changed everything that made her her for what made me me. And by mimicking her behavior, I slowly but surely started adopting her identity. One I had always admired, but had never truly belonged to me. You see, because I thought that by acting like her, I could love myself as much as I love her. I could be as successful as she is right now. However, life never seems to be that easy, is it? Somewhere along the way, we start mistaking appraisal for authenticity. We learn how to perform, how to curate personalities to fit a particular mold. One we believe is capable of avoiding failure. And in doing so, we slowly let ourselves down to a point where we forget where the line is between who we are and who we pretend to be. A life well lived begins with radical honesty. One where you understand both who you are and what you actually value. To be honest with yourself, because without truth, love is impossible. You cannot love a version of yourself that's built entirely for approval. You cannot respect a life that was built entirely to avoid criticism. Loving yourself means having the courage to know yourself first. It is choosing a path because it aligns with who you are. It is understanding that disappointing others is sometimes the cost of not disappointing yourself. And it is deciding that your inner voice deserves to be heard as much as any external expectation. Because when your life flashes in front of your eyes, you will not be counting how many boxes you ticked. Because a life well lived is not defined by perfection or prestige or money or success. It is defined by coherence and the subtle harmony of who you are and how you choose to exist in this world. So, be honest with yourself. Even when it's hard. But especially when it's hard. Because the greatest regret is never that you failed. It is that you never allow yourself to live as you truly are.
Congratulations. Thank you, Erica. I'd like to welcome speaker number 8, number 7, no, it's Amber, I'm getting lost. Amber Collison with her speech, Beauty and Imperfections. Amber, welcome to the stage.
From the moment we're born, there is a version of life that we are taught to chase. Go to school, get good grades, go to college, find a job, get married, build a life that fits the script. But sometimes, in that pursuit of great, we fail to do good. We fail to notice what it's costing us. Because that's the lie that we've been told. That being flawless will make us complete. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that this is what a life well lived looks like. That if we follow these steps exactly, if we polish every edge of ourselves until we shine, that we will finally arrive at happiness. Like it's something just waiting for us at the end of a perfectly walked path. But what if there's a question we forget to ask? What if there is no... Oh. Ooh. I can't do this. No. Thank you. Okay, I got it. Thank you so much, you guys, for being so understanding. What if there is no prize to perfection, only an end to pursuit? What if, in trying so hard to fit that mold, we slowly start to lose the parts of ourselves that made us real in the first place? We shape ourselves into something easier to understand, easier to approve of. We wear masks. We build our own prisons. Bars forged of oaths, codes, commitments, walls of self-doubt and accepted limitations. So what happens when we get there? We reach the end of that path, and we still feel empty. What happens when you've solved every equation, eliminated every flaw, and yet still feel like you aren't living. Maybe the real question isn't, how do we get this right? Maybe it's, in a world that's constantly telling us who to be, do we still have the courage to be ourselves? I didn't always. I didn't learn how to from some book or from some perfect quote online. I lived it. Because when everything around you changes, being yourself can suddenly feel like the hardest thing in the world. There was a moment in my life where it seemed like everything flipped upside down. My family moved across the world. New country, new language, new culture. And suddenly it was like everyone else knew this hidden set of rules that told them how to talk, how to act, how to belong. And I didn't. And when you feel different, your first instinct is very often to hide it. I faded easily into the background, never too much or too loud, never a problem in class or a burden to those around me, just someone who wouldn't be noticed. And it took me years to realize what I had done, that I had been so focused on not failing that I had stopped chasing what I truly loved. Because I'm an artist, not casually, at my core. The walls in my room are filled with my drawings. My desk is cluttered with pens and pencils, always something unfinished. And I let that part of myself go quiet. Not because it didn't matter, but because it didn't fit into who I thought I was supposed to be. But here is the truth. The grandeur of life is in the attempt. It's trying and failing, creating something messy and unfinished, choosing to keep going, even when everything is uncertain. Because life was never meant to be perfect. It was meant to be lived. So, maybe the goal was never to fit the script in the first place. Maybe it was to write our own. So if you take anything from my story, take this. You are not behind. You are not too much. You are becoming. And the parts of you that don't fit neatly into someone else's idea of perfect, they are not mistakes. Because the world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs you, fully, imperfectly, unapologetically, you. And that is more than enough. Thank you.
Congratulations, Amber. Nothing was going to stop her. Thank you very, very much to the audience for the support you gave her. It's not easy being down here. Congratulations again, Amber. Our next speaker is Carlos Otton Garcia and his speech, Life's Greatest Teacher. Welcome, Carlos.
Raise your hand if you thought that the first time you failed, it was the end of the world. When we're about to do something, we must always have confidence. But what if it doesn't go your way? What if you suddenly experience an unexpected twist to your life? Is it the end of the world? Fully acknowledging and respecting different cultures' perspectives, for me, a life well lived is full of optimism, confidence, determination, but also of making mistakes, of embarrassment, and even failure. Those are big words. At the end of the day, you will understand the importance of failure. Because although many people say there is no such solution to such problem, do you know what? They're wrong. There's always a solution. Now, before I take you to the worst experience of my life, when we hear this word, failure, what is the very first word that comes to mind? Disappointment, depression, desperation. When people decide to take risks but end up losing, they feel downhearted. They don't have solutions to overcome these problems. Do you know why? Because they lack two key solutions: the ability to remain calm and having mental strength. Furthermore, in my humble opinion, I believe it is the most effective way, but it is definitely not the easiest. At least when I had my first contact. Picture this. This is the 2024 Singularity Model United Nations opening ceremony. 200 people in complete silence. 200 people waiting. On the stage, I was behind the piano, waiting for the moment. I started playing. Everything was going thoroughly well. I was living the moment. Suddenly, after a minute, I went blank. I tried to improvise, but I just couldn't remember the next note. Hesitating, panicking, I had no other choice but to stop. And then, silence came. For the very first time, I truly felt disappointed. I truly felt embarrassed. And I truly felt lost. I knew that at that very first instance, it would create a trauma that would be chasing me for my whole life. I so well remember that I was crying throughout the whole ceremony. But after all of that, surprisingly, one of the music teachers came to me and asked me, "Do you want to give it another shot?" As soon as I heard that, I urgently knew I had to take that second chance, because I knew that if I hadn't taken that second chance, I knew I would be regretting it for my whole life. What did I do? Well, I stood up, I went again, and I was able to finish the piece. At the end of the day, I realized that I demonstrated to myself that with mental strength that helps you stay calm, you can stand up. And as Bodhi pointed out in the movie Point Break, fear causes hesitation, and hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true. With all that said, I discovered that life is like a piano recital. Why? Because the show must go on. Thank you.
You should be very proud of yourself. Well. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Alexandra Konovalova, and her speech, "The Power of the Unnoticeable." Alexandra, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. In 2022, for 4 long months, I said nothing. I haven't said a word. I locked myself in my room. It was cozy, dark, and quiet, with a window facing the mountain and only a few yellow lights inside. My room was a place of pure solitude. It was a lonely one. I'm guessing you're wondering why. There was a lot going on for me that year. My friends in Ukraine were stuck under constant shelling. I was being bullied at school, and my family was breaking apart right in front of my eyes. I felt hopelessness, like life has lost its meaning. And as the outside world has failed me, I made a deliberate choice to fail myself. So why did I stop speaking? Because there were simply no more words left to say. And then one day, my mom came into my room, asking me to get out and eat some chicken soup she made. I screamed at her. She screamed back at me. It was an entire scene. Eventually, she left me alone, but I was still hungry. What I realized that moment was that life moves on, that the soup is still there and you have to go out and eat it, and that the only way to connect my deep inner world with the outside one was by speaking. They say Gen Z is the most educated generation in the history of humanity. It is also the loneliest one. The survey conducted by Cigna in 2023 shows that 73% of us report feeling lonely. There's a 4% increase from the previous year. We are hyper-atomized. As we became more interconnected through the internet, it became surprisingly easy to be extremely lonely. You can exist inside your home for months, creating an illusion of a meaningful life from the inside. Self-centeredness led us to losing communities without even noticing. I've always argued in favor of hyper-individualism, but now I know that it is not an antidote to what is happening to our society. We are stuck in infinite online discussions and small talk, rarely talking about the global transformations that all of us are affected by. We are lost inside the variety of options. Caramel macchiato or hazelnut latte, Adidas Samba or Adidas Gazelle, oh my goodness, iPhone or Android, which leads us to forgetting what is actually meaningful and what is meaningful. Speaking is an essential instrument of self-reflection and the only way to create a true connection. Words are the simplest form of legacy. We like to insert an unreachable greatness into this word, but in fact, leaving a legacy is as simple as taking responsibility for the words you say and using them for the good of society and for your own good. Of course, that requires effort. Do parents always have enough time to talk to their kids about what their life is like? And are they ready to accept everything that their children will share? Words can kill, and words can inspire. Words of terror, words of cruelty, and words of coldness led to me spending 4 months in my room. In other cases, deep and meaningful conversations can completely transform one's life. Recently, I reconnected with an old friend of mine from 8th grade named Sonia. We haven't spoken in years, but she still remembers how I used to say that she is worth more than what people tell her. She shared that these words of mine drive her through life to this day. There is a question of choice and responsibility. Connecting with the outside world seems like a process of loss rather than gain. You are losing your internal freedom. But in the end, freedom is a relative illusion. You can be as free as you want, inhale your liberty and inner anarchy. But we all live in a society. And in that society, just like in mine, one day you shall smell the aroma of chicken soup. And with that aroma, you'll get reminded of the community you have and the culture you are part of. For me, chicken soup is the symbol of my Eastern European childhood. And it is our choice. It is our choice if we will go and eat that soup, if we will go and gain a community. But we must remember that a life well lived is not a life well thought, but a life well acted. Or, as I would like to say, a life well spoken. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. We're fast approaching the end. Our second to last speaker, please welcome on stage Paulina Guk. Jump off the cliff, Paulina. Welcome.
Picture this. You're standing on a cliff in the middle of a violent thunderstorm. The sea is crashing into the rock 1,000 feet beneath you. And the person whom you love most in this world is drowning. Behind you are other people. They're safe and sheltered. They're shouting at you to get away from danger. But the person you love is below. If you jump off the cliff, there's a chance you might die. But there is a possibility that you could save them. Would you jump? The choice is yours. At this moment, the choice is mine. I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, and in the sea below me is a new school with a prestigious program and international connections. For me, this could open doors to some of the best biomedical universities in the world. This could allow me to do big things and help the world at a global scale. But changing schools could mean moving town and leaving everything I love behind. The school which has shaped my personality, the teachers who have helped me grow, my volleyball team, which has become a second family over the years, my dear friends, Mariona, who can turn any conflict into a joke, Daria, who knows me like no one else does, Laya, whom I can trust with anything. And it goes beyond that. My whole family would be ripped out of the nest we've been building for years. We'd have to start our life all over again. And what if everything goes wrong? What if I don't belong and my life is reduced to snide whispers behind my back? What if I realize I would have learned more if I had stayed? All the sacrifice will have been for nothing, and there'd be no going back. Maybe your cliff is different, but what stops us from jumping is always the same. Doubts, fears, insecurities. This is why we bargain with ourselves and find solid reasons to stay in our comfort zone, a place of blissful happiness, but not freedom. Because fear is convincing, and it never goes away. We wait for fearlessness in vain. What we need is courage. Courage can only exist when fear is present. Courage to act, however much we are afraid. And I know it's not that easy. We've all succumbed to our fears sometimes, me included. And to tell you the truth, my greatest fear isn't even failure. It's regret. The nagging thoughts which haunt my nightmares. I should have done everything differently. I should have stayed. It's better to be safe than sorry. But I will tell you this. If I stay on the cliff, these regrets will be even stronger. They will eat me up from the inside and never leave me be. Because I will have let the person in the water die without even trying to save them. And that person is me. It's everything my life can grow into, everything I can become. My life is already the result of others' courage. The reason I'm standing here now is because the people around me all jumped off their own cliffs. First, my father, when he moved from a nameless village in Kazakhstan to a big city in Russia. He had nothing with him but a computer and knew 2 people at best. But he wanted to build a career and grow beyond what his old village would allow him to, and did. And it was in that city that he met my mother. Then my parents moved to Spain together, leaving behind our home, our family, our culture, our language. But it was these risks that led to me being born all together, growing up in Europe, and standing here today, speaking freely. And when you face your cliff, and the sea below could be the beginning of a new life, but you'll never get to live it unless you choose possibility over safety, growth over comfort. Now it's my turn. I don't want to let myself die. I want to try everything. I want to try even though I could fail. Who knows, I might regret it, but I choose to assume the danger because growth requires risk. So I choose to grab my fears and take the leap to discover everything I can be. I choose to jump off the cliff. What about you?
Enjoy the applause, enjoy the applause, it's yours. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And our final speaker this morning, with his speech, A Life Well Ended, please welcome to the stage Ben Hanig.
Philosophy is to life as masturbation is to sex. We often get so caught up in the how-to that we forget to actually do it. Psychologists and scientists have spent centuries trying to define a life well lived, yet the answer remains elusive, as they're busy seeking a formula for a feeling. But there is one half of the equation we often ignore. To die well is to live well. To be honest, for most of my life, I couldn't have cared less about legacy. I thought it was the ultimate vanity project for the insecure, the need to have your name plastered on a library wing or a bronze statue just so the world doesn't forget you were here. I thought that once the lights went out, the show was over, and the person in the dirt wasn't really around to enjoy the applause. I was perfectly content living in a vacuum, believing that after me was somebody else's problem. But my cynicism eventually faded away when I played 2 video games. Yep, it's a bit of a cosmic joke, isn't it? That I found the blueprint for human existence not in a dusty, leather-bound tome, but through a controller. I went in looking for a distraction, and I left with a completely new understanding of what it means to occupy time. These stories made me take my live for today, because tomorrow is a myth mindset, and change it into something actually useful. They showed me that a legacy isn't a monument. It's the enzyme of change. It's planting seeds for a garden you don't get to see. The first game to change my cynicism was What Remains of Edith Finch. Edith returns to her family's ancestral home, where her mother, paralyzed by fear, sealed the doors to where relative stories were kept. She tried to freeze time to protect her daughter from the family curse, which often led to fatal ends. But the curse wasn't supernatural. It was just the fragility of being human and the suffocating weight of unaddressed grief. By writing down those stories, Edith turned subpar parenting and bad luck into a family's eternal flame. She showed me that legacy can allow us to vicariously experience life after death. If we don't tell our stories to our children, we leave them with a house full of locked doors. But by telling them, we give them the keys. If Edith Finch taught me about the legacy of the home, Outer Wilds taught me about the legacy of the soul. It did it by blowing up the sun every 22 minutes. In this game, you're stuck in a time loop, forced to repeat a supernova, which destroys everything you have. I used to play with my old mindset. What does it matter? If it's all going to be stardust in 20 minutes, why even bother landing the spaceship? But then I found the writings of the Nomai, a species of alien that disappeared thousands of years before you were even born. They weren't trying to live forever. They just wanted to understand. They found out about the inevitable end long before it came. In a terrifyingly beautiful grace, writing stories, scientific theories, and love letters on the planets they were stranded on. They showed me that legacy isn't about what you do. They showed me that legacy isn't about stopping the end, but what you do before it arrives. By letting go of permanence, you finally get to experience living in the now. The Nomai didn't save themselves, but by leaving their mark, however small, they made sure you were around to experience the universe's final, beautiful breath. Even if the universe eventually ends, passing on what we know is the greatest form of rebellion against the void. So when you see injustice and you make noise, when you refuse to let democracy die to thunderous applause, you are grabbing history by the horns. You're making sure that your heartbeat echoes long after it stops. So be the change, leave the record, and plant that garden. Make sure that when you die, you don't leave a set of locked doors, but a key. If we live forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, the best thing we can do is open our eyes and enjoy how brief and beautiful all of this is.
Stay there, stay there. So I'm going to get them all down again. If we could have all the speakers down here again. Congratulations, Ben, by the way. So one of the things that we fervently believe in Four Voices is that public speaking is an act of courage, getting up in front of people, many of whom you've never seen before, and talk and articulate and connect in the way that all 12 of you did was extraordinary. You should all be incredibly proud of yourselves. I know the people in the room that have come with you are. So, you know, you've been sitting now for a long time, so I'm going to get you once again on your feet and give these people an astounding applause for what they achieved this morning. Congratulations. Okay, congratulations, everybody. Up you go. You all did incredibly well. So before I hand over to Gabriella and Carrie, if you go to page, I'm lost the order, I lost it. The final page of your program, you're going to see the judges, who I'm now going to take with me. I don't know how you're going to do it. I know it's a cliche that you hear in every competition. Oh, the judges have a hard job. Today, I have no idea how you're going to do it. So I'm going to take the judges. As I said, you have the program. You're not happy with the final decision. Remember their faces. Find them. Hunt them down. They don't work for me. I don't care what happens to them. So judges, you can follow me. And please welcome on stage two of my fellow co-founders, Gabriella and Carrie.
Thank you so much, Cormac. Thank you to all of you for being here. I don't know about you, but that certainly helped my existential angst, right? We're all feeling a little bit unsettled at the moment with what's going on in the world, and so there was no coincidence that we decided to hand over this very important question to our youngsters to help us oldies, well, some of you have got very youthful faces, so I just include myself in that bracket, to help us understand, right? So we can remember that our youngsters are often our best teachers. And they proved that today. They really were exceptional, each and every one of them. I don't know about you, Gab, but every time that our youngsters stand on this stage, I am in awe and humbled by the wisdom that they have on such young shoulders. They say that the future, as we enter the tech age, as we enter the AI age, philosophy and communication are the two most important skills, right? They've got it in spades. We've got to give them a platform. That's exactly what we try to do at Four Voices. We want them to use their voice to talk about the issues that matter to them. Our voice is the most important tool of connection, right? And it's free. We've got to bring up that inner dynamism, that inner personality, that inner charisma to transmit the all-important message. And I just want to remind you of some of the messages that our youngsters taught us today. Embrace the fear. Do it anyway. Keep your authenticity. There is no prize for perfection. A life well lived is a life full of memories. Be true to yourself. Choose what you love. Encourage others to follow their passion. Don't ever fear failure. Have those deep and meaningful conversations. Life is not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be lived. Get out of your comfort zone. Be the change. Live for today and find your voice. Gab.
You know, having done this for 5 years now, it never stops astounding us, the evolution from where they start to where they end. And for many of you, you may not know, the way we start the process is we put out a theme. And the theme we send out to the schools, and we ask the youngsters to send in a short video, 1 minute, just with their ideas. They then go through a boot camp with us, and then of that, we choose 12, and they go through a rigorous training, are assigned a private coach, and then end up on stage. Let me just say, it is about the process. And I think that is something that we all forget. When you start with something very rough, just a rough idea in your head, and you think this needs to be perfect right away, it doesn't. As you saw here today, the nerves, the discomfort, but then the evolution to the end, that conclusion where each and every one of them stood on stage in pride, pure pride and joy. They accomplished what seemed impossible. And that is something each and every one of us can take home today, that no matter what your idea, your message is, it is the process. And it takes a community, every single one of us, as you so well did today, and thank you for encouraging them with positivity, with compassion, not with judgment or criticism, but support. And that is what we're all about. We do not in any way edit their speech in terms of what they need to say. That is theirs, 100%. We don't limit. We don't say the words they can and cannot say, as is true for each and every one of us. And that is a core of this organization and something that we hope to bring forward.
Thank you, Gab. What we try and do each year is we throw out to you, the audience, because we'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, your thoughts on a life well lived, your thoughts on the future for our youngsters, or anything you'd like to share having seen the speeches today. So I know, maybe I'll start with Victor, because I know that he always has something to say. Oh, he's not here, of course not. Oh, yes, of course he's a judge.
Jess would be really interesting here. Would you mind?
Jess, introduce yourself for those that don't know. There you go.
Oh, hi. This was unexpected. My name's Jess Black. Hi, how you doing? I think like Hi, Rhonda. I see Rhonda there. Hey, I see some familiar faces. No, I remember being in high school, college, saying the same thing to myself. I had a saying, I said, by the time I'm 65, which felt so far away, right, that I would have no regrets. And I would say that that being the defining philosophy, I've since lived 25 years out of the US, in 7 different countries, tried a million things, failed a bunch of times. And it gets easier to fail every single time. And everything that these wonderful young kids were saying resonated really deeply. So thank you very much for putting on something like this, because it's great and encouraging to hear from them.
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
So I just met this lovely gentleman today, right? Part of the reason why I'm putting him on the spot, and you're so sweet to do so, is he started a university or a business.
A business school.
Yeah, Barcelona Business School. And would you mind sharing what you felt the future talent or the future skills are?
Right. So I happened to be a professor inside of an institution in LaSalle about 4 years ago when AI came out. And I kept saying to all the professors, I said, you know, this is the game changer. The value of knowledge will go to 0 because anybody with an iPhone or Android can access it. So really, the only thing that will differentiate us going forward is our ability to communicate with others. And so then I launched an after-school program at schools that you're probably at as well, to try to bring that forth. Public speaking, right? Being able to communicate with conviction what you truly believe inside, not what you're told to believe. And I do that with entrepreneurship, which I think is great because it just allows you to whip up an idea and run it through the hoops to see if it works. But public speaking and communication and connecting with people will be the future. In fact, on the website that I finally built for it, I said, in the age of AI, only creativity matters.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Jess. So as you can see, these 12 have already mastered a skill that'll take them a far ways into the future, which is incredible.
Anyone else like to share their thoughts? Many of the coaches here maybe want to say about their experience of mentoring, which is so important. We heard from Saul initially, didn't we, about fanning the flames for youngsters to ensure that they follow their passion. I know Caroline is here. Perhaps you'd like to just share your experience of what it's like to coach, to be a mentor in this process.
Thank you for putting me on the spot. As I was scribbling some notes. Yes, so I had the pleasure of coaching. Can I say who I coached? Yeah. See, of Alexandra. And for me, each time I do this, it's a journey as well. And I always feel like, who is the one learning here? Because there's so much wisdom. I always say to myself, there's so much wisdom in one so young. And so I always feel like, I was moved listening to Alexandra, and Gabby can attest, I had tears in my eyes, because I've seen, I also witnessed her process of, her first speech and how we developed it, and she developed it, and it was all her own words, but there was something at the end which I thought, oh, there she is on stage, sharing her deep beliefs and what's important to her, and I think it's just the most amazing thing. So, yeah, it's a privilege I can speak for myself as well as a coach, to be involved in this whole process. So thank you.
Out of curiosity, is there a parent here who feels brave enough to share what their experience has been through this process? Oh. Are you pointing at your father in the corner?
Why, thank you very much, Gabby. It's a great experience to be here. This is the 5th time that I've been sat in the audience, the first time that I've been sat in the audience from point of view of a parent. The thing that I would like to say is, going back on previous conversations here, is how important it is that the young people of today are taught how to clearly communicate. It's a fundamental ability to be able to persuade, get your idea across, sell yourself, negotiate, sell your ideas, pitch your point, etc. And it's very frustrating to see that as my daughter pointed out, these things are not on the curriculum. And I think they should be. And as parents, if we still do have kids at school or we still are in touch, I would motivate each one of us to gently persuade our educational systems to maybe put this on the curriculum or at least as an option, because what Four Voices are doing is so important. It's so powerful. It can change the lives of people. And yeah, I just hope that it's a small step in the right direction that we can continue to build and turn into a huge bonfire. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
So, hello, good morning, thank you very much. To be honest, it's impressive and has been very inspiring. But my worries is that this is really only the tip of the iceberg, yeah, and I mean, here we have obviously very talented people, but our youngsters today, yeah, they don't even know how to read, yeah, they don't read books. They have only one voice that comes from social media. AI is making knowledge so accessible that why bother learning? So for me, it's not only about communication, it's about really thinking and reasoning and really coming back to the basics, yeah, that we have to have our own opinion and not only the opinion that is really fed to us via social media. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Well, I think that follows quite nicely onto maybe the thoughts of some of the schools. I know we've got some schools representatives here, certainly from St. Peter's, Hamlin. Would any of those like to talk about the importance of, I'm looking at Karma, but she's looking away, the importance of communication, public speaking, how that's being integrated into classes at schools, not just, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is John. I'm a teacher at Anne Sullivan International School. And I had the pleasure of helping Ben submit his first video, as well as other students. And I'm just really grateful for organizations like this, because it really does enrich our curriculum, and I think it fits quite nicely into some of the standardized curriculum as well. For example, we use this program in our ethics program, because what is a better topic than what a life well lived to discuss in ethics class? And so I just want to say I'm very grateful, because Ben is one of our students who submitted his application, but we had a whole plethora of students who go through it, and the initial process as well, although they're not selected, is really beneficial because it really hypes them up and it gets them thinking. And so I'm really grateful for these programs. It really does enrich us.
I also just want to quickly point out, and I'm sorry I didn't comment earlier, is that many of them are not speaking in their native language. Can I highlight that? Can I just say how proud each and every one of you should be to be able not to just do it maybe in a second language, but your third or fourth language? Could we do this? Just, no. So in and of itself is mind-blowing, right? I'm also about to put someone else under the bus that probably wasn't expecting it. We have an alumni here. Do you mind? So I would love to get your feedback as well, my love.
I definitely remember being here last year. It was an amazing experience, I'll say. Just seeing how far everyone this year had come, it is really amazing. I am here to personally support Alexandra. She came to me when she first put in her application to just ask me about any advice I could take. And I gave her as best as I could, and just seeing her be up there, I'm so proud of her. She did amazing. I am in AP Gov with her, and I knew she would do amazing, even just seeing how she speaks in that class, and just seeing everyone on stage, they all did so good, and we should all be so proud of them.
Thank you so much. Well, hopefully now, just not too long before the waiting will be over. We've got 3 prizes, first, second, and third. But of course, everyone is a winner. I just want to remind you of the importance of our sponsors. What we do for the love of what we do, but we also need a little bit of help along the way. So I just want to specifically thank Josh from Korea and also Maresme Toastmasters. Oh, thank you so much. Well, while you're there, I think we'll catch what, because they're a talkative lot, that lot. You get the, so Toastmasters, I'm sure you're aware, is for grown-ups to help us with leadership and public speaking. It's a brilliant organization. It's worldwide. Simonetta's got the mic. She's one of the co-founders along with me and also a coach.
This is a time when you regret shouting. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. This is my 4th year supporting 4 Voices. I love to be a coach because this is what I wanted to have when I was their age. I don't know if you know, but this is public speaking. This is probably one of the biggest fears, they say. But really, choosing between public speaking and death, I'm pretty sure we'll go towards public speaking. So your mission here, 4 Voices, is not just teaching public speaking, is giving people a voice and sharing their message. And this is what we also do in Maresme Toastmasters. A little bit of a self-speech. We are based in Vilasar de Mar. We absolutely open to anybody who wants to come and improve their public speaking and leadership skills and really share their voice and share the message from their heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Have we got time? No, keep going. It's going to be a difficult decision.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're going to have to bear with us because judges are having a really hard time. They were all so amazing.
I want to hear maybe from one of the youngsters here who haven't taken part, but have just here. Maybe they've been dragged along by a parent. Maybe they're just interested.
By parents.
Well, I know those ones on the left. I know very well. You know what the experience was like for them. If it's encouraged them perhaps to improve your communication skills. I mean, the great thing about communication skills, it's a really important add-on. We had a winner 2 years ago, Emma, who worked in science and tech, and she was absolutely fabulous, and she's used her communication skills now to bridge the gap between the tech world, which is often, or the science world, where often people sort of like, bent down or behind screens, and she's now using her public speaking in her studies and in her employment, which is fantastic. So I don't know if any youngsters here are brave enough to talk about if they've been inspired or if they're a little bit nervous about it, or there's someone up here that maybe... Oh, sorry. I've just trod on Gabriella.
Just a quick add-on. She helped co-found a TEDx in her university, yes, exactly. Which is pretty astounding. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, I will say that it's not my decision to speak now. So I will be nervous, and I didn't take part in this challenge in this conference. So it's also my nerves here. But I'm here as a good friend of Alexandra, who I supported. I think that generally this conference is an amazing way to improve one of the most important and yet the most challenging skill in modern society is the communication, is public speaking, and I think it's amazing that you give opportunity to youth to participate in such events. Thank you.
We didn't pay him, honestly.
I think we have a natural speaker. So I just out of curiosity here, how many of you have given a public speech? A fair amount. And what was the tipping point for you to be able to stand up on stage? What was that moment when you realized that your ability to share your voice was the most important thing in the world? I'm going to throw one of you under the bus because I'm really good at it.
We've got 3 minutes, by the way, just to manage your expectations if you need to go to the toilet or get a drink.
I didn't raise my hand, but it's okay. I'm not sure, but I think when I speak up is because I have something to say, something meaningful, something that I want really to share with the audience with the person who I want to speak with. But apart from that, and collecting some of the reflections that have been shared today, I think also one of the biggest challenges that these young people have, and many of us have, is also to listen, to pay attention to carefully, and to connect. Because it's not only about speaking, but also about hearing the meaningful messages that these people are expressing. So I think this is also part of the communication. And it's also part of the skills that the schools and the universities should be promoting. Also being able to hearing, identifying the signs, and taking care of us humans and the planet, I think.
Thank you very much. Yeah, listening is one of the greatest forms of communication. We're very nearly there, but Victor, I called on you actually initially, and an aberration, of course, you're a judge, because I wanted to ask you about, well, you can now tell us a little bit about the judging process itself, but also I know you have something specifically to say to our participants today.
Oh, do you want me to come down?
Yes, if you want to.
Okay.
This is Victor from Metropolitan.
Thank you. I want to make sure I answer your question. Can you repeat that, Carrie?
Well, it was twofold. It was just really about your experience of the speeches today, and also you had a specific message to the youngsters.
Okay, a couple of things. The speeches, I've had the pleasure and the honor and the hard work of trying to figure out who the finalists of the finalists are for I guess, since the beginning. And I have to say, this year has been even harder to judge in terms because all of them gave fantastic speeches, great deliveries, great coming back from a difficult spot if you kind of tripped and stumbled. But that's what life's all about. And we're talking about lives well lived. And one of the things that I really wanted to thank you guys for doing, because it's just not today, it's throughout the whole year that Four Voices is looking to help people, help young students who are our future leaders, to become more effective with critical thinking, with clarity of purpose and clarity of communication, so that we can all pay a lot more attention and be more inspired. Because we need people to inspire us. And I have a unique opportunity to thank Karma and other wonderful people who are at our institutions, our educational places where they are coaching these kids to have passion, to have integrity, to have the characteristics that we often so lack in our current leaders. And I come here on these Sundays in April for these competitions, and I leave amazingly inspired. So thank you very much to the coaches, to the people who are doing Four Voices all year round. And as far as going back to the process of judging, well, we have to go back there, and it's arduous because we're inspired by some speeches. We have to measure deliveries, we have to measure appearance, we have to measure voice, being in front of the stage. And it's not easy, but it is great. I'm very happy to see that it's a hard job because they gave fantastic speeches. Whether you are polished delivery and is completely done remote or by memorization that's to a T, combining that with nonverbal gestures, and also the pregnant pauses. All of these things are amazing tricks and techniques to capture attention. There's a lot. It's easy to hook people's first attention, but you got to keep it. And I want to say thank you to allowing me to be part of that process. One of the things that has been an unofficial tradition, but I use it very much for very selfish purposes. Here at the Four Voices competition, I have the ability to see fantastic up-and-coming students. And at Barcelona Metropolitan, we love to capture the stories of people who have chosen to move to Barcelona and make it their home. And we like to write about the stories of these people and some of their challenges and some of the not so great things. We love Barcelona, but it has some areas that need to be improved. And if anybody's going to improve it, it is the voices of these young orators. And what do I get out of this? I get a very tangible benefit, and it is that I tend to pick people from the 4 finalists who are interested to be an intern at our magazine to continue working with us. So I would love to have this opportunity again, and if you are interested, whether for the finalists, please let me know, because it is a powerful and an amazing experience. From the first competition up until last year, we've had fantastic experiences with the interns. They've learned to write, they've learned to do critical thinking, they've learned to do the amazing work with social media, and thank you so much. I don't think I have anything else I wanted to say.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks, Victor. Am I getting the thumbs up from my team up there? Are we? Yeah, well, right, okay, this is the moment. So, great. I think you can take a seat, Victor. Gab, you're going to come and join me again. And I believe Tulia is going to come on now. Tulia, there she is, thank you, pointing out, always beautifully coloured you are, just lovely outfits every time. Tulia, look, is our head judge and has been for the past 5 years, right, I think. So, over to you, how was it?
I'm not going to repeat myself in what Victor just told you. It's hard of us, because every time we come here, we feel so inspired that it's very difficult to be pragmatic and objective. But we are a team. It's not only me, we are a few people, and we put our heads together. And also, as Victor explained, we have very strict rules, guidelines, let's put that way, so that makes our life a little bit easier. But I would like to, I have to have the certificates, no? First? Okay. Before I announce, I again thank everybody who are here supporting us, and also especially to the participants, because this is not an easy job, but it's satisfying. And I just want to tell you that everybody, all of you are winners. You're winners because you're here. You took the leap and you shared your story. But it's a competition, so we have to choose. So for all of you, for us, the organizer, the judges, you're the winners. But we will announce some three, we have three, the 0, 4. Three as we had to select. But before going there, I just have one more thing about what the lady there mentioned about the listening. Thank you so much for pointing that, because especially now, in this moment that we are so much talking about AI, technology, what's going to happen, all this overwhelming conversation, exercises like this one, meaning preparing what you have to say, requires a process of thinking, of being analytical, of being critical, of being really choosing what to say, that is so necessary for us when facing this technology. Because this technology is here to support us, but it will only support us if we exercise our capabilities of thinking, analyzing before speaking and make decisions. So this is all for you. Cormac is already send me a sign that I have to shut up. Okay, so come on, let's get started. Okay, so we start with the third or the first? Third, so you give to me.
I give to you.
Okay, I want you to help me to make some noises here, okay? Woo! For this amazing 4 Voices event, 5th time, the 3rd place goes to Carlos Otton Garcia. Don't collapse, don't collapse, don't collapse. Carlos, we are so happy and proud of you. So breathe. Okay. So he's shaking. Oh my God. So, but you owe us something.
Sorry?
You owe us something. You still have to do something for us.
What is it?
To play for us one day. Carlos, to play. To play.
No. You kidding me?
Not now. You have time. We'll find a time.
Sure.
Okay, that's for you. So where's the certificate? Whoops. He's not even thinking. Okay, breathe. Okay, now, next one. Woo! For the 5th edition of Four Voices, we have Saul Gibbs cover. Woohoo! Woo! Be careful. Well done. Your certificate. I give you a few times there just to breathe in. You have to give her the certificate, no? Okay, now. I have the first here. Huh?
You have an envelope, don't you have two?
Ah, yes, I forgot to give to her. Sorry. I thought it was just my card. Sorry. Okay, for the first place of this edition, we have Elki Brown. Come here, big hug to you. Well done. Okay, we give them a few times, just a few minutes to breathe. And now what's the next? The protocol. Should I invite everybody?
We'll call them down one by one.
One by one. Alex Cuello, please. And we'll go move in that direction, right? Congratulations, Alex. Okay, that's for you. Come here. We're a bit disorganized today, but it's okay. Ben Hanig. Great man. Ben, I will never forget your opening. Ever. Okay, Elsa Shiffrey. Well done. Elsa. Here, that's for you. Just here, there. Okay, next one. Alisia Mestra. That's for you. Well done. Jiang. This for you. Well done. Okay, I love hugging. I'm Brazilian, so I have to hug. Alexandra Konovalova. Well done. Alexandra, I will want to try your chicken soup one day. Okay. Amber Collison. Well done. And we have Erika Augusti. Woo! You're welcome. Oops. A kiss in the air. Paulina Guk. Everybody down, right? Yeah. Paulina, well done. Very good. Okay, now I invite all the team here, no, to stage for pictures and everything. You too, what are you doing there? Come on, and a big hand of applause for everybody who works in the backstage to make it happen. Ladies. So who's taking picture? So I have to decide the best side. Well done, everybody. Well done. Yeah.
Final words, just a massive thank you to you. They could not have had this experience without you encouraging them. Don't forget Saul's message. Do fan those flames. Our youngsters need it. We need your support always. Thank you for being here. And if you're feeling generous today, there's a QR code. Yeah, it's still there on the board. But thank you so much. And we'll see you next year. Thank you.
Finally, families, we're going to do some very, very quick interviews with your kids. So if you want to maybe inside, outside, can the families sit here in comfort? No, Carrie's throwing you out. So if you can wait outside, families, we'll have them out with you very, very quickly. Or make your way to the cafe upstairs. Thank you so much.